Entrepreneurship can be really hard, and when you're doing it by yourself, trying to navigate the terrain, it can almost be impossible. That's why we created the Entrepreneur Circle. Every episode, you're going to hear from incredible entrepreneurs who are in the same trenches that you are in. And we're going to talk through what's working, what's not working, whether it be in marketing, finance, or anything in between. We're here to talk business and figure out how each of us can rise together. So welcome to the circle. Let's dig in. Welcome everybody to Entrepreneur Circle. I am here today with Marta Spirk, the one and only Marta Spirk. She is multi-talented. I don't know if y'all have looked her up. If you haven't, you're missing out. And I'm excited for you to dig into all the beautiful things she does, because not only is she an incredible keynote speaking coach, she's an amazing recording artist, performer, author, and she doesn't just do it, she does it well. So welcome, Marta.
Thank you so much. I'm so excited to chat.
Yeah, it's going to be good because I think our audience is definitely, they're after how do we grow our small business? How can I grow my personal brand, my company brand? And I think so much of it comes down to speaking and getting on stage and that visibility. And that is your expertise, right? I mean, I remember the first time I met you was at Bloom Mastermind here in Denver, and you blew me away with your perspective and just how you are navigating the life of entrepreneurship and motherhood. And I think there's just so much that we're going to dig into.
Yay.
Yeah. So tell me a little bit in your own words about the keynote consulting side of your business. Tell me a little bit of what you do and how you help people.
Yeah, so the focus is helping entrepreneurs with their message and then getting it out there more. My definition of stage is a little bit different from what people may expect. It's not necessarily being, under the lights in front of hundreds holding a microphone. That is also it. But I like to say that your business is a stage and your business is your stage. So you get to share your message in whatever capacity it is once you open your mouth, whether it be in a networking meeting, whether it be one-on-one on Zoom or over coffee with somebody. You're always pitching yourself. I always like to say we're always selling something. I may be occasionally selling vegetables to my kids or eating out to my husband, but we're selling, right? And as entrepreneurs, whenever you meet someone, especially in a business setting, when you introduce yourself, it is an opportunity for you to market, right? So I help my clients with all of those facets and helping them see they are speakers. Because then there's the other thing of, well, I'm not a speaker, I'm introverted, right? People come up with excuses. And then I come in and I say, that is not true, especially if you are a business owner, right? And a solopreneur. You cannot afford to say, I can't talk about my business. And there is no business because you have to market all the time. So to me, stage is all of those things and helping people overcome this myth that they are not speakers, that that's not their go-to is my mission. And then understanding, okay, so what's the next level for you? Because it may not be a large conference and maybe you won't ever do that, and that's okay. But doing a podcast interview is something I believe is lower stakes. And again, all relative. For some people, doing what we're doing right now would terrify them. They wouldn't sleep the night before, but it's all different levels. I have gotten nervous in podcast interviews before, depending on who it is, depending on the setting, right? And then there are other opportunities that I feel super natural and, at home, like with you here. But it's because I've been doing this for a while and people take that for granted. They think they're going to know everything instantly. I don't know where we get that from because it's never the case in life. But anyway, so that is what I guide clients. And the way that we start that is honing in on their message by creating a talk. So the way that I help them honing in their message is creating a talk. Even if they're not thinking that they're ready to get in front of people necessarily, I help them with a beginning, a middle, and an end. How would you share the beginnings of your business? Why did you start this? Where did it come from? And it's interesting that some entrepreneurs haven't even thought about their origin story. And that's one of the most important things when you're connecting with somebody, because they want to know. And that's what makes you different. Why would somebody go with you versus somebody else that does something very similar? Because of who you are and because of your story. So we start there. And then we find the connection between their origin story and where they are right now. Some important steps or key concepts that they can share along the way. And sharing client stories. Now, not every entrepreneur has a bunch of client stories depending on where they are in their journey, but that is key is leveraging testimonials to show credibility. And again, not many people are leveraging that because they're like, I have a testimonial, but how do I turn this into a story? So I help them with that as well. And this is valuable not just for getting on stage and speaking 20, 30 minutes uninterrupted, but in a podcast interview, when you ask me about something, I can pull a client story right then and there, but I have to have trained my brain for that and created that structure, right? Or in a networking meeting or in a sales call. So all that.
I love that you position it this way because you're speaking in every aspect. It's not just on stages. I think that's the most important thing is how you show up in a room when you're networking or how you show up on a sales call. All of that it's the same.
Yeah.
So it sounds like what you're doing is finding that thread that pulls somebody through storytelling, right?
Yes.
So when you work with people, I mean, I just think back, you said it too, I think back to the first time that I was on camera and we were actually just recording a video about it. The first time I got on camera, I straight up froze. Like no words were coming out of my mouth and my mind went blank. I mean, the fear there is real. What are some tips that you have for people to push past that initial fear, whether it is on camera or it's sitting on a podcast or even getting nervous, getting on a sales call? What are some tips that you have for those?
I like to say that there's something that is triggered in our brain whenever we know we're being recorded, even if it's us with our phone. Like I've prepared, I kind of memorized, you hit that button, something happens, like now I can't erase it, which you can. Now I can't redo it, which it's wild, but it is there. And that's one of the reasons why I have my clients record themselves on their own just for me to see, because that takes a little bit off the pressure. I mean, they're still going to be nervous, but it's the reps, right? So there's something to be said about repetition. The more times you do it, the less hard it gets. Even if it doesn't get easier, it gets less hard. But the other thing is having that structure. So, and that's why I really swear by creating this talk, because you're going to practice it, you're going to do it several times, and then it's going to come out naturally. And I love that you said, we are speaking in all of these places and it should all sound the same, but you'd be surprised at how many people think it shouldn't sound the same. Oh, I don't want to be repetitive. You want to be repetitive because you want people to know you for something. Not repetitive in the sense that you just say the same lines like a robot, but in being coherent, right? And congruent with your own messaging, again, to be known for something. So the way that I help people with that is creating that structure, having them record themselves and practice that, but then finding opportunities to practice that. And that looks different for everyone. So for somebody that is very insecure about a podcast interview, I could do a mock interview with them, right? So have a friend do a mock, like if you have already booked something with somebody that is not somebody you know or are familiar with and you're scared, then you need to practice. There's no other way. And you may still be nervous and it may still not be your best interview, but guess what interview will be good? Maybe 10 from now or more, right? So find ways to practice. I mean, same concept with a discovery call, for example. I can guarantee you that all of us, in the first times we talked with a prospect, it wasn't that great.
Yeah.
We didn't know what questions to ask. We didn't know how to respond, how to show that we were listening. We probably talked more than we should, at least in my case, because I like talking. So, how do you get better? You do it several times. You record yourself. You watch later, which is totally cringe, but that's something that we must force ourselves to do, is to watch it back and be prepared to look at mistakes and things that we could improve on, right? It's not just magically. That's, I think, another cop-out of human nature is you were born with the talent of speaking. Good for you. I was not, therefore can't do anything about it. That is not true because you have a voice. You can get better at it. It's all communication, right? Becoming a better communicator. And like I said in the beginning, that is not something that an entrepreneur can afford not to focus on, because all of us, regardless of the industry, we've spent years and probably a lot of money in education or whatever, getting good at our craft. We need to be spending a lot of time getting good at expressing and talking about what we do, right? Because that's really entrepreneurship anyways, but that's, I think, a human skill.
Absolutely.
Being able to express yourself.
Yeah, I mean, I will never forget the statistic that going after a personal brand and building a personal brand is going to build trust 12 times faster than if you were trying to build a business brand. So it's pulling a face out of the company and having them talk and share the message and share the expertise and the perspective. And that's what creates that bridge. I don't know, especially with AI, I mean, it's going to become more and more important because everyone's getting more and more glued to their phone and to their computers. So that human to human, it's priceless. And that's directly related to what you're talking about.
It is.
As a coach, kind of shifting gears, as a speaking coach and a consultant for your business, what is the moment or the task or the thing that you did to help you create momentum and see growth in your business?
So many people sell the one thing. And I have grown in almost 10 years of entrepreneurship at this point to learn that there is never one thing, right? I mean, if somebody sells ads, they're going to tell you that ads is the thing for you. If somebody coaches on Pinterest, they're going to tell you Pinterest is the way, right? So be very aware of the people that are selling the one thing, because it's not one thing, it's a combination of things. So I will tell you that what really has helped me is learning to leverage different platforms and different touch points, is understanding that there is not one thing and that people need to see me in different capacities to warm up to me and want to work with me. Also, there's something to be said about referrals because, they're warm leads. We all know that. But the reason you build that, or the way that you build that to begin with, is because you're showing up in the networking groups as a participant capacity, but also in the spotlight as a speaker, or maybe you're on the board, right? Or you're in leadership. And then you connect with that person on social media. You're active on your LinkedIn. You have content you share. And you're active in other platforms as well. So there's the other thing where people say, what is the best platform? What is the platform that you recommend? I recommend that you be visible in a few of them. And it doesn't have to be your major one. We all have our favorites and where the clients tend to come from. But I think it's important to be present because people will look you up. And if you can't be found, there's a problem. Now, I will also say that I have been the person that would flip-flop because they would say, remember Clubhouse days? Mm-hmm. When it was like, this is the way, this is the platform of the future. And I dealt with it for a couple months and I was like, this is too much. I'm already doing Instagram, Facebook, and LinkedIn. And a podcast. I can't do this. So I decided not to continue. And then obviously now there's TikTok, another one that I've dabbled with a couple times, and I decided I have to pick a lane and I have to stand for something. So that's not something that I'm not going to engage with right now. But to answer your question, it's all of it, because even I'm preaching speaking, right? So I'm saying go speak, but I'm also saying you need to be speaking in your social media. Because what happens after you're off stage, the conversation shouldn't end there. You should have your book. You should have your social media. You should have an offer. You should have your email list, right? You can't just have one thing. So that's my insight.
It's so true. And I've fallen into this trap too. I mean, it's easy. You want to take the path that seems proven, that seems like it's going to be the one. And if you get in front of a really good salesman, and they will convince you that is the one thing. And I couldn't agree more. It is an omni-channel presence that you are after. It's not just pour everything into podcasting and that's what's going to grow your business. It's what is the machine like? I mean, where can they find you elsewhere? How can they plug into your stuff? Where can they buy stuff?
Absolutely.
How can they buy stuff? Is it easy to buy from you, or is it complicated? Do they have to click on 12 pages? And there's just so many pieces to the marketing side of your business. I love that. I would love for you to dig into your music side though, because you guys, this woman can sing. She can sing too with an A. Like, you have the most beautiful voice, and I get excited about this because I come from a music background too, and I know how nerve-wracking it is to get on stage. And this is, I feel like I can get on stage and speak, but getting on stage to sing is something that I haven't worked past. Like, I haven't gotten past that. And I think maybe you should coach me on that. That could be
Maybe I could.
But tell me about, because you not only have original music, but you just sing so beautifully, and you're on stages across the country from what I've seen you do. Tell me about that journey. How has that been?
Well, it's been from childhood. Obviously, I would be using anything as a microphone prop, carrying boom boxes around and planting myself in rooms in the house and saying, I'm going to perform now, watch me, to family members. But then it kind of took a back seat in terms of, getting married and having kids and developing my business. And a lot of it too, because I grew up singing in church. So my mom's a pastor. I was very involved with worship and all of that. After getting married, I wasn't attending her church anymore because she's in Brazil and I'm in America. So I wasn't as involved with that. And there was a part of me that didn't want to invest a whole lot in music because in my mind, it was more of a hobby, especially after I started my business. But one thing that I had held on to was performing the national anthem for several reasons. I think, tracking back for storytelling's sake is, I remember in the Napster days or LimeWire, whatever those platforms were called, dating myself here. I remember I downloaded an entire album from Leanne Rimes, and one of the songs was her singing the national anthem a cappella. And I was like, this is a beautiful song. I need to learn it. And me being from Brazil, like it was not my national anthem, but I just really loved it. And then I auditioned to sing it at a competition, and I actually won to do it for a rodeo here several years ago. And after that, people started asking, oh, we need somebody. It was very interesting how that happened, you know, to think about it in an entrepreneurial mindset of the need, right? I wasn't necessarily marketing myself, but people had seen it. So they saw me as somebody that could do that. And I was like, wait a minute, there's something here. So I started performing the national anthem for other things. And then I started thinking, why am I not pursuing this? I'm more than the national anthem. I can sing other songs. So that's when, after building my business and knowing I can, you know, pay a coach, I can buy a course to teach me how do you upload music? How does music one day show up on Spotify? Like, how does that happen? Well, there's people out there that teach you how to do that in the same way that people teach you how to do ads or whatever else, right? So I invested in that because I had the means by building my own business, and I decided to pursue that, not even having so much clarity as to what am I doing with this? Because I had this business here. Like, where does the music fit into that? And it's interesting because I think people watching me go on this journey, they saw it before I did, because they started already introducing me as a professional singer. And I'm like, am I? I don't know. And then I thought, well, I can actually leverage this. Like, people are seeing me this way. And that really encouraged me to focus more on speaking in my business because of exactly what you had said. Singing is so much scarier than speaking. And now people see me as a singer too. So I have so much more authority to say, I can help you get in front of people and talk because I do harder things.
Mm-hmm. It is hard.
So that really, really helped me. That's the story.
There's something that stands out to me in this story. People saw you sing the national anthem, and then they started asking you to come sing the national anthem. I think that is very equivalent to people seeing you talk about your business and then asking you to help them. They both go hand in hand. Yeah. Because when you're able to get in front of people and just show them what you can do or show them your knowledge, it becomes kind of a downhill thing. It's not like you're out here trying to convince people only on the sales call. Right. You're able to showcase, well, I talk about this in my keynote over here, or I made a YouTube video about this. It is all about visibility. I think that is very apparent in both of those lanes. That's amazing. Yeah. I love it. So you have 3 kids. I do. 3 boys?
2 boys, 1 girl.
2 boys, 1 girl.
Yes.
Aww.
I have it all.
She has it all. How old are they?
10. They turned 10 January 15th.
Yeah, because they're triplets. Yeah. Could you imagine? Oh my gosh. I have so much respect because I have 2 kids and they are different ages, not twins, not triplets. I commend you. Yeah. Colton, who's filming this, has twins also.
Oh, wow. Okay.
I commend you both. Good job.
Yeah, it's rough.
It's rough. It's rough no matter what. I feel like as a parent and as an entrepreneur, it's a challenge. So what are some ways that you juggle all of this?
So in the beginning, I'm fortunate in many ways that I started it when they were so young, and I started it because they were so young. My interpretation looking back is that I felt like so much was out of my control, just having triplets to begin with, but then, being outnumbered constantly, that I was like, let me find a way to control something, and then my business was born. And then, you realize there's some certain things that are not under your control in business, but I digress. So I started it that way, and I very early on hired a sleep consultant, which I swear by, when people are like, oh my gosh, you're amazing, how did you do it? I don't know anything else. There's that. But I think maybe entrepreneurial mindset was already in there because I was like, I'm not going to just know how to do this, obviously. I need somebody to help me. And even though it was a virtual thing, she really empowered me to realize you are in charge. You're the one that's going to teach your kids to sleep. So I think the empowerment came even from there, where they would nap and it was predictable. I could lay them down and know that they would be asleep within a few minutes so that I could have a call, so that I could do things. So it started there. Now, obviously, they're in school, so I do everything while they're in school for the most part. Those are my working hours. Everything, happy hours and weekend getaways have not been a thing. Now that they're getting older, things are shifting a little bit, but it took many years. I think a lot of it is just doing it, and not necessarily using them as an excuse. And if anything, I bring them along. They don't totally understand. Sometimes when people ask them in school, they're like, she's an entrepreneur, but they have no idea what that means. Where's your boss? Do you have a job? the challenges of explaining it, because my husband does have a boss and does have a job. But my daughter goes with me to all kinds of events, and she likes singing as well. So I know they're learning with me. They don't sometimes, because people are like, oh my gosh, what do your kids feel when they see you singing in front of thousands? Nothing. They're like, I'm sleepy and I want to go. Like, I've seen this before. Yeah. Okay. She's over there, right? It's nothing crazy to them.
Yeah.
But hopefully as they get older, they'll recognize it. And I think at the end of the day, understand. That's what I keep trying to tell them, right? You're going to get nervous. You're going to mess up. It's going to be scary, but you go and you do it anyways, right? So that's what I do.
See, I think there's a difference. I don't know if it's different or not, but that exact thing of you're going to feel nervous and you're going to feel scared, and that's okay. That's something I've been drilling into my kids as well. Yeah. And I think mine are 4 and 7, so I'm a little bit behind you in that. But I think as they get older, they're starting to grasp a little bit more of what it means for mommy to have her own business and have to pause for a second and go take this call and come right back. Yeah. That's, I think, the hardest part for me is the stepping away when I'm with them to go do something. But then it's countered with, well, I get to be home with you all day. It's just I'm stepping away for this 30 minutes and I'll be right back, you know? Yeah. But I think it's a blessing, and it's a juggle, I mean, for sure. But it also is very much, you just do it. You just do it. And as they grow, they learn. And I'm sure, girl, as they grow up and they see you, they're going to be very inspired if they aren't already, for sure. 100%. I love that. So tell me about your book.
Oh, yes.
You have written a book. What's it called? Where can people find it?
It's called The Empowered Woman, The Ultimate Roadmap to Business Success. I published it a few years ago. It was in 2022. And the idea behind it really is to just get something in front of people that was easy to digest. I had thought about writing something for a while and I didn't know what to focus on. And then I had a coach that had published 9 books, and he said, Marta, write an airplane book. You know, you can write something that's, you know, thick and 1,000,000 pages long. Your friends will support you and buy it, but will they read it? Write something short and digestible that talks about your story and some key steps towards something. So that's what I did. I shared, you know, about my story coming from Brazil and having triplets, marrying my husband, moving to America, all the things. And I talked about the steps that I believe are key to starting your business. And it focuses a lot on mindset, really. Like believing in yourself, forgiving things you can't control, and people along the way. Because those are the biggest hard blocks. Yeah, figuring out the strategy, all of that. But then what about the resentment that you feel towards a coach that you invested in and you feel like they didn't help you? Or that client that you really loved and they asked for a refund, or they badmouthed you afterwards, right? There's so much that goes into it that is beyond making the money and whatever else. It's really a growth journey. I always like to say that marriage, parenthood, and entrepreneurship are big ways to hold up a mirror in front of you and show you what you're made of. Like, there is no hiding. This is who you are. Every single time you reach a roadblock, it's like, it's because of those things that you're trying to ignore. You can't ignore them and keep going. You have to stop, right? So that's what I talk a lot about in the book, and understanding yourself, because everyone is a little bit different. So I leverage a personality framework called the Enneagram that I really, really love, that really helped me see myself and stop thinking that there was something wrong with me because of wanting to start a business when I had triplets and they were so young. There was a lot of pushback from my family, especially like, you need to do this now. Why are you doing this and that? And I couldn't really explain until I realized, wow, there are people out there that are wired this way, and I am one of them. So that's why I'm pulled to doing this. It's not because I'm crazy. I mean, a little bit, but, and everyone's a little different. So that really helped me, and I figured that is something that could help other people out there. So it's been a tool of encouragement for women.
Amazing. I cannot wait to read it. That is awesome. I think that's so important too. I've heard of the Enneagram. Am I saying it right? The Enneagram.
Yes, Enneagram.
I have heard, is it the one with the numbers?
Yes.
Okay. I have heard of this.
Yeah.
You guys, let's make a pact, everybody listening, that we're going to go take this test. I feel like it's a lot of it is understanding yourself. I feel like too, as you go through entrepreneurship, parenthood, like you said, it's finding the blind spots. That's what one of my mentors always taught me on, is like, what are the things that you're not seeing about yourself that are holding you back? So those tools, the books, the personal development that comes with this whole entrepreneurial journey, it can't be overlooked as you go. You're amazing, Marta. I'm so excited that you're here. Thank you for coming. How can people connect with you? Where can they find you on social?
So I am visible, and I'm the only Marta Spirk that exists. Thank my husband for the unique last name. So if you go to Google, you should be able to find my website and all the places, but I'm on LinkedIn, on Instagram, on Facebook. You can find me on Spotify, not only with my podcast, The Empowered Woman, but my original music, like you mentioned. And my website is martaspirk.com.
Beautiful. Go find her, go connect with her. Marta, thank you so much for coming on the show.
Thank you.
I appreciate you. We'll catch you next time, everyone.
Remember this as you go about your day today. The ideas that are on your heart for a reason. Do not ignore them. Tune into them. Tap in, lean in, understand them, and pursue them. If not you, then who? If this episode was helpful to you in any way, please like, share, comment, subscribe. It does wonders for our efforts, and it helps us to continue our mission of inspiring entrepreneurs and giving them the resources and the perspective we all need to take it to the next level. Thanks for tuning in. I'm Paresa Noble, and we'll catch you next time.